The galaxy was quiet, but not for long. In the navigation halls of the Zell Dominion, star maps flickered like dying flames. Pilots shouted, their voices filled with fear. The routes that had always been safe, lines of light stretching across space, were suddenly broken. Whole sectors were missing. Every path that touched the Sol system, the home of Earth, had turned black. The navigators tried again. They checked their instruments, reset their scanners, even prayed to their gods. Nothing worked. The charts refused to display safe passage near human space. One officer whispered what many feared. "This is no error. The maps are breaking on purpose." The word spread faster than light. From the Kair Ascendancy to the Velen clans, every alien power heard the same news. Their star maps collapsed near humanity's border. At first, the leaders laughed. Earth? The old world? Humanity was a forgotten species, a people who once fought wars but were never important in the galactic order. Many aliens thought humans had destroyed themselves long ago. But the silence in the navigation halls told a different story. In the Grand Council of Concordance, the galaxy's leaders gathered. It was a vast amphitheater filled with banners of countless alien empires. Faces twisted in confusion, eyes narrowed in suspicion. The screens showed the broken maps. Dozens of star routes ended in void. Ambassadors argued, their voices sharp. The humans cannot do this. Their world is primitive. This is sabotage. A new weapon, perhaps? No, no one has that power. Not even the greatest fleets. The room fell silent when an old archivist spoke. His voice was soft, but every word struck like thunder. You do not understand. Humanity never joined your laws. They never bent to the council. You believed them weak. Perhaps you were wrong. The silence grew heavier. Across the galaxy, scouts were sent to test the truth. One fleet of 10 warships from the Avar Dominion crossed into the shadowed zone where the maps had failed. Their commanders promised to return with proof that Earth was nothing but dust. For hours, their signals were steady. Then, one by one, they vanished. In the control rooms of their homeworld, officers screamed as the ships blinked out from every tracker. No wreckage. No distress calls. Just silence. Only one final image reached them. It was grainy, distorted, but clear enough. A massive shadow, black against the stars, larger than anything they had ever seen. A warship, no, a whole fleet, emerging from the dark near Earth. The image ended. Panic swept through the council chambers. The alien leaders shouted over one another. Some demanded war. Others begged to close the borders. But the fear was the same across every voice. The maps had not broken by chance. Something, or someone, was cutting the galaxy away from Earth. Rumors grew wilder by the day. Some claimed the humans had discovered a way to rewrite space itself. Others whispered that Earth had allies from beyond the stars. And some, in low frightened tones, said the humans had never been weak at all. They had only been hiding. The Kair Chancellor slammed his clawed hand on the table. We cannot allow this. If humanity blocks the routes, trade collapses. Our fleets cannot move. We will starve before the year ends. A Velen warlord rose, his voice like a growl. Then we crush them. We burn the old world to ash. But before the vote could begin, the council's screens lit up. Static burst across the amphitheater. Every channel, every secure frequency, was overridden. The aliens gasped as a voice filled the chamber. Calm. Cold. Terrifying. Turn back. No face appeared, only a shadow behind the static. But the voice was human. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy trembled at a single word from Earth. Panic broke out. Delegates shouted in fear. Some fled the chamber. Others demanded proof, demanded to know how humans had hacked the most secure networks. But deep inside, every alien felt the same truth. This was not a warning. It was a command. In the distant sectors, more fleets prepared to cross the broken charts. They were proud, armed with the best weapons of the galaxy. They did not believe in ghosts. They did not believe Earth could stop them. But those who watched the shadows at the border knew the truth. Something was waiting. Something human. And as the galaxy argued, as leaders shouted and armies prepared, the black warship from the final scout image stirred. Its engines lit like suns, and it turned slowly toward the stars beyond Earth. Toward the aliens who dared to cross the line. The final scene fades to black as the alien council stares at the frozen image of the human warship. Its hull bears no markings, no flag. Only a single word etched in. The concordant spire rose like a mountain of crystal above the stars, home of the Galactic Council. Within its endless chambers, leaders of 1,000 species gathered. The air was heavy with fear. Every wall was alive with broken star charts. The glowing lines of trade and travel ended abruptly at the same place, humanity's border. No ship dared to cross without vanishing. No map could chart the way forward. The council floor was chaos. Ambassadors shouted in their native tongues, their voices layered with panic. "This is sabotage," cried the Kair Chancellor, his wings spread wide. "Then explain the fleets that never returned," hissed the Velen warlord. "This is impossible." "Humanity was finished centuries ago," spat the Avar Prime voice. The screens replayed the final scout image, a black warship, massive as a moon, its hull scarred with ancient battles. Shadows of more ships lurked behind it, silent, waiting. The delegates could not look away. Some trembled. Others refused to believe. At the center of the chamber, the archivist of Orin raised his hand. Old, bent, with eyes like burning suns, his voice cut through the noise. "You laugh at Earth," he said, his words slow and heavy. "But I have studied the old wars. I have read what your empires erased from history. Humanity was never destroyed. Humanity was never weak. They chose silence." Gasps filled the hall. The archivist's words carried the weight of forbidden knowledge. "They warned you once," he continued. "Do not cross their skies. Do not touch their world. Now the maps themselves obey their command. Do you not see? It is not defense. It is judgment." The Avar Prime voice slammed the table. "Judgment? From a dead world? Nonsense. This is a trick. We will send more fleets. Humanity cannot fight us all." But even as he spoke, new reports streamed into the chamber. 50 warships gone at the edge of Sol. Trade convoys turned away by invisible barriers. Entire sectors darkened as the broken maps spread wider. The evidence was undeniable. Yet pride burned hotter than fear. The Velen warlord bared his teeth, his voice a growl. "We should not cower. If Earth dares block the stars, we crush them. I say we burn the human system to ash." A dozen voices rose in agreement. A dozen more screamed in protest. The chamber shook with fury. But then, the lights died. Every screen flickered with static. The noise fell into silence. A single voice filled the vast chamber, low and calm, echoing in every mind. "Turn back." The council froze. Thousands of eyes widened in shock. The voice was human. "Your ships were warned," the voice continued. "Your maps were warned. You ignored them. There will be no third warning." The words cut through like blades. Then the static cleared. The voice was gone. For a long, terrible moment, no one moved. Then the chamber erupted. "Impossible. How did they breach our secure channels?" They spoke across every frequency, every empire heard it. "This is war." "No, this is something worse." The archivist closed his eyes. "Now you understand. Humanity does not ask. Humanity commands." The words spread through the crowd like fire. Every species felt the same chill. Outside the spire, entire fleets prepared. The great powers armed themselves, believing strength could answer fear. War drums echoed across the stars. But the soldiers who stood on those warships whispered among themselves. They remembered the images of the Black Fleet, silent and unmarked. They remembered the voice that broke every defense. And in their hearts, doubt grew. What if humanity was not the enemy? What if humanity was something far worse? Back inside the chamber, a new signal cut through the council's arguments. A transmission from the farthest scouts. A single lifeboat had been found, drifting near the border. Its hull was torn. Its engines were dead. But inside was one survivor. The survivor was carried into the council hall. Broken, scarred, his breathing shallow. The aliens leaned close, desperate for answers. The survivor's eyes opened. And in that moment, every delegate froze. His eyes glowed faint blue, filled with strange light. Human technology, implants burned into his flesh. He tried to speak. His voice cracked, but the words were clear. "They let me live," he whispered. "They wanted me to deliver a message." The council leaned closer. The survivor's voice dropped to a trembling whisper. "They are not defending Earth. They are guarding something else." Gasps rippled through the chamber. The delegates turned to one another in fear. The archivist's face turned pale. For the first time, even he was shaken. If humanity was guarding, then what were they guarding from? The chamber's lights flickered once more. On the main screen, the black warship reappeared. Its engines burned brighter. Its course was clear. It was moving, not to Earth, but toward the heart of the Galactic Council itself. The galaxy no longer slept. On every world, in every empire, news spread like fire. Fleets that entered human space did not return. Maps shattered, routes dissolved, and still the leaders refused to accept the truth. Pride and arrogance were stronger than fear. The Avar Dominion declared they would prove humanity's weakness. They promised the Council that their armada would crush Earth in days. 50 of their finest warships, shining behemoths of steel and plasma, launched together, banners glowing, engines burning like suns. Crowds cheered on alien homeworlds. Leaders smirked. The Council told itself the humans were a shadow, nothing more. But deep inside, doubt remained. Hours passed. The armada crossed into the broken maps. Then silence. No signals. No messages. Just nothing. In the Dominion's war rooms, officers watched in horror as one by one, the fleet's signals went dark. Engineers banged on consoles. Commanders shouted for updates. But the maps refused to show anything. They had vanished. Panic raced through the council. "Impossible," shouted the Velen warlord. 50 warships cannot vanish without a fight. The Kair chancellor hissed. Unless they faced something they could not fight at all. For 2 long days, the galaxy waited. No word. No return. Every empire held its breath. And then, a signal. A single lifeboat drifting across the border, its hull torn apart, engines dead. Inside, one survivor. The council gathered to hear him speak. His body was broken, his skin marked by strange burns. His eyes glowed faint blue, alive with implants that none recognized. He had been changed. The survivor's voice trembled. "They let me live." The council leaned forward. "They destroyed the fleet as if it were dust," he whispered. "They did not chase me. They did not capture me. They let me live, because they wanted me to deliver a message." The room fell silent. Even the archivist, old and steady, bent closer. "What message?" The survivor's lips cracked into a weak, haunted smile. "They said, we are not attacking you. We are protecting you." Gasps shook the chamber. Confusion turned to terror. "Protecting us from what?" demanded the Velen warlord. The survivor's voice dropped lower. "They are guarding something, something far worse than themselves." The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted in disbelief. Some called it lies. Others trembled. The archivist's voice broke through the noise. It matches the old records. Humanity fought wars with things beyond the stars. Not against us. Against them. The Kher Chancellor slammed his claws against the table. Enough of riddles. If they guard something, then show us what it is. But no one could answer. That night, across the galaxy, fear spread through every street. Soldiers whispered in their barracks. Traders canceled voyages. Civilians asked the same question. If humanity was guarding something, then what was about to wake? In the shadows of the council chamber, a private transmission appeared. The screen flickered to life, and a human face appeared for the first time. A woman in uniform, her dark eyes calm, her voice steady. "I am Admiral Mara Saeed of the Terran Defense Fleet," she said. The delegates froze. "You have ignored our warnings. You have sent fleets against us. You have paid for that mistake. But know this, Earth is not your enemy. We are the shield against what sleeps beyond Sol." The council chamber shook with outrage. Some shouted threats. Others begged for proof. But Mara did not respond. She only gave one final message. "Stay out. Or you will awaken it." The transmission ended. The galaxy broke apart in debate. Half the leaders demanded war against Earth before it grew stronger. The other half begged for peace, fearing humanity's warning was real. But before any decision could be made, alarms screamed across the chamber. New images streamed in from the border. Not human fleets this time. Something else. Something massive. A shadow moving behind Earth. Larger than a planet. Older than the stars. The survivor, lying broken on his bed, whispered one last time. "It is already waking." The council chamber falls into silence as the shadow begins to spread across the stars, eclipsing whole constellations. The lights flicker. The maps collapse further. And the word Terra glows across the black warship's hull, this time joined by more ships, rising from the darkness, preparing for a war the galaxy does not understand. The galaxy had seen war before. But never silence like this. From the edge of Sol, black shapes moved, massive warships, their hulls scarred by ancient battles, their surfaces dark as night. They made no transmissions. They carried no banners. They floated like silent giants, watching. Alien fleets, still gathered at the border, trembled as their sensors locked onto the human ships. At first, many thought the images were tricks, projections meant to frighten them. But the readings did not lie. These vessels were real. And they were enormous. Larger than anything the galaxy had ever built. On the council floor, the delegates stared at the live transmission. The Kher Chancellor hissed, "How can a world as small as Earth build fleets this size? Where did they get the resources?" The Velen warlord's face twisted. "They hid it. For centuries, while we laughed at them, they were preparing." The archivist of Orn whispered, "No, they were waiting." The screens magnified one warship. Its hull was scarred with glowing lines, as if struck by weapons never seen before. Yet it stood whole, untouched, stronger than ever. Strange towers jutted from its back, radiating silent power. Across the galaxy, civilians watched the same feed. Children cried. Soldiers froze. Merchants cursed as trade routes collapsed. No one could believe what they saw. "Humanity should not have this power," muttered one delegate. They were primitives. Barely spacefaring. Yet there it was, a fleet born in shadows, stronger than the combined strength of 100 empires. Then, for the first time, the galaxy saw them. Human soldiers appeared on the screens. Armored figures, standing in silence, lined the decks of their warships. Their helmets were black, their visors glowing faint blue. They did not move. They did not speak. They simply watched. It was not a threat. It was a warning. The alien council chamber shook with fear. One delegate screamed, "They plan to attack. We must strike first." Another shouted, "No." Can you not see? They are not moving against us. They are guarding something. The archivist leaned heavily on his staff. His voice was low, but clear. They are the wardens. They are not here to conquer. They are here to keep what lies beyond from escaping. The chamber erupted again, torn between pride and terror. And then, the silence broke. One of the human ships stirred. Slowly, its engines glowed with blinding fire. It moved with deliberate grace, turning away from Earth, away from Sol. Its course was unmistakable. It was heading toward the Concordance itself. The delegates gasped in horror. Armies scrambled. Fleets armed their weapons. The galaxy braced for war. But no weapons fired from the human ship. No demands were spoken. Instead, as the vessel glided through the stars, every alien communication network lit up. A new signal. At first, it was static. Then words appeared, carved into the very air of their screens. You were warned. Delegates screamed in rage. Admirals shouted for orders. Panic spread like wildfire. But then came the final words. If you cross the line again, you will not face us. You will face it. The screens went black. The Velen warlord slammed his fist down, claws sparking against the table. Lies. They bluff. They want us to fear ghosts. The Kair Chancellor's wings trembled. Then tell me, what destroyed 50 warships without a single trace? The chamber fell silent. On distant worlds, the galaxy watched the human fleet move with terrifying calm. Their ships bore no flags, no colors, only a single glowing word across the largest vessel. Terra. And behind them, something stirred. A shadow larger than worlds, older than empires, moved faintly behind Earth. Not fully seen, not yet awake, but enough to freeze every watcher's heart. The Council realized then, the humans were not their enemy. They were the wall holding something back. But pride is stronger than wisdom. Half the Council still demanded war. If we unite our fleets, we can destroy them. The other half begged for caution. If their warning is true, then war will doom us all. The chamber divided, chaos boiling over. No one could agree. In the middle of the chaos, alarms shrieked. A scout ship from the border transmitted one final message before its feed cut off. A tear had opened in the sky behind Earth. And from that rift, a colossal claw was reaching through. The human fleet turned as one. Their weapons powered up, not against the galaxy, but against the darkness behind them. The galaxy had seen the human fleet. They had seen the black warships, the silent soldiers, the scars of battles no one remembered. But until now, no one had heard them speak. That changed when every screen in the galaxy flickered to life. It began with static. Networks across 1,000 empires froze. Civilian feeds, military channels, even the private lines of the Council, all hijacked at once. And then, a face appeared. A human face. Dark hair tied back, uniform sharp, eyes steady as stone. She stood against a backdrop of steel and stars. Her presence filled the galaxy's airwaves like thunder. I am Admiral Mara Saeed of the Terran Defense Fleet. Her voice was calm, but it carried weight, as if each word was carved from iron. You crossed into our skies. You ignored the warnings written into your maps. You lost your fleets, not because we sought war, but because we protect the line. And still, you demand answers. In the Council chamber, silence reigned. Every delegate leaned forward, transfixed. The Avar Prime voice hissed, so they live. The Velen warlord snarled, show your weapons, human. If you threaten us, do it openly. But Mara's expression never changed. You fear us, she said. You think we are your enemy. But you are wrong. Humanity is not defending Earth from you. Humanity is defending you from what lies beyond Earth. Gasps filled the chamber. Some laughed in disbelief. Others shivered. The archivist of Orn whispered, the old records were true. Mara continued. Long before your empires rose, something else came. It was vast. It was hunger given form. We chained it here, near Sol, at great cost. And then we hid. We let the galaxy believe we were weak, because the truth would destroy you. We erased our own name from your wars so you would never come close. Her voice hardened. But you came. And now the chains tremble. On alien worlds, civilians stared at her image in terror. Merchants froze mid-trade. Soldiers felt sweat on their hands. Across the stars, every being understood, this was no bluff. The Kair Chancellor shouted, "Lies. A story to make us cower." But even as he spoke, the images from Sol flickered behind Mara. The rift. The claw. Shadows shifting behind Earth. Proof. You ask what destroyed your fleets, Mara said. It was not us. It was the first stirrings of what we guard. We erased your ships because their screams would wake it. Do you understand? It is not war we fear. It is awakening. The chamber boiled with shouts. Half the delegates screamed for war, refusing to bow to humans. The other half begged for peace, desperate to believe. But Mara gave no room for debate. This is not your decision, she said. Stay out. Do not cross the border again. Or you will not face humanity. You will face it. And then her image faded. The screens went black. For a moment, silence. Then chaos. Delegates slammed fists, shouted curses, raised weapons in fury. The galaxy's pride burned too hot. We will not bow to Earth, they screamed. They trick us with shadows. But in the corners of the chamber, quieter voices trembled. What if she spoke the truth? What if the humans are not our enemies, but our shield? That night, on alien homeworlds, crowds filled the streets. Some demanded vengeance against humanity. Others begged leaders to stand down. Civilizations split in fear and pride. And still the maps collapsed, one sector at a time, cutting the galaxy apart. Back at the border, the human fleet turned toward the rift. Their weapons lit for the first time, glowing with energies no alien had seen before. But before they fired, the rift pulsed. The claw stretched wider, tearing at the sky. And from deep within, a sound emerged, a sound that froze even the bravest soldier. A voice. Not human. Not alien. Something older. Something vast. I remember, it whispered, echoing across every star. I remember the war. I remember the chains. And I am hungry. The rift split wider. Stars bent. Space cracked. And the human fleet unleashed its first salvo, fire and fury against the darkness itself. The galaxy watched in horror as the truth unfolded. Humanity had never built a fleet to conquer. They had built a fleet to guard against the end of all things. And now the end was waking. The rift grew wider. It stretched like a wound across the stars, tearing open the night. Gravity bent, constellations twisted, and the silence of space filled with a low hum, deep, endless, alive. The human fleet stood in formation, silent guardians against the breach. Their black warships burned with pale light, their weapons glowing as if they had been waiting for this moment for centuries. On alien homeworlds, people crowded around screens. They had mocked Earth, dismissed humanity as weak. Now they watched as humans faced something none dared name. In the council chamber, fear thickened the air. What is that thing?" whispered the Kair Chancellor. His wings trembled. The archivist of Orin leaned on his staff, eyes heavy with sorrow. The old records called them leviathans. Creatures from before light touched the stars. We thought them myth. The Velen warlord snarled. A trick. A shadow play to frighten us. But his voice shook, betraying the fear in his chest. The rift pulsed again, and every word of denial died. From the darkness, a claw emerged. Vast, jagged, as long as a city. It curled slowly, scraping against the void, leaving scars of fire in its wake. The chamber fell into silence. Admiral Mara Saeed stood on the bridge of the flagship Terra. Her eyes never left the breach. "Status," she commanded. "Shields are holding, Admiral," replied her officers. "But the rift is expanding. Containment may fail." Mara's voice was calm, but steel-edged every word. "We hold the line. Humanity was chosen for this. We will not fail." Her soldiers nodded. None spoke of fear. None looked away. They had been raised for this moment, raised to guard the galaxy that despised them. Across alien networks, civilians wept and prayed. Soldiers who once mocked Earth now felt their throats dry. Leaders who once demanded war sat frozen, watching. For the first time, the galaxy understood, the humans were not bluffing. They were the wall. The Leviathan stirred. Two massive eyes opened within the rift. They glowed like suns, burning with hunger. The voice came again, deeper now, louder. "I remember you, little ones. You chained me. You thought I would sleep forever. But I dreamt. And now I wake." The words carried not through sound, but through thought, piercing every mind in the galaxy. Billions screamed as the voice echoed inside their skulls. Alien soldiers dropped their weapons, clutching their heads. Children cried out. Even the strongest leaders bent under the weight of that ancient presence. And still the human fleet did not move. "Fire!" Admiral Mara's order rang out. The human warships unleashed their fury. Beams of white energy split the void, missiles streaked like falling stars, and the darkness lit with war. The Leviathan roared, not in pain, but in anger. The rift widened, its claws lashing out, tearing apart space itself. Stars flickered and died. But the human fleet held. Shield after shield absorbed the blows. Hulls cracked, but none broke. They fought with the precision of warriors who had prepared for centuries. On the council floor, chaos reigned. "They fight for us," one delegate cried. "They cannot win alone," another shouted. "We must join them." "No, if we fire, the beast will turn on us too." The chamber split in panic. Pride battled with fear. But deep inside, all knew one truth: humanity was fighting not for Earth, but for all of them. The archivist whispered, "They warned us." And we did not listen. The Kair Chancellor's wings drooped. And now we are too late. The Leviathan pushed harder. More of its body emerged, vast coils, armored scales, a shadow that swallowed entire constellations. The rift screamed with light. Admiral Mara's officers struggled to keep formation. "Admiral! The chains are breaking. We cannot contain it much longer." Mara's gaze hardened. "Then we die holding the line. Humanity was born on a death world. We were forged for this. If we fall, the galaxy must remember why." Her soldiers slammed fists to chests in silent salute. None retreated. None begged. They fought like the myths the galaxy once dismissed. And then, the Leviathan's voice filled the stars once more. "You hide behind steel. You burn me with fire. But you are still only flesh. And flesh breaks." Its massive claw struck. One human warship shattered, torn in half. The council chamber erupted in screams as the image played across their screens. But before fear could overwhelm them, the wreck of the human ship exploded in blinding light, its core detonating, tearing a piece of the Leviathan's claw apart. The beast roared. For the first time, it had been wounded. The galaxy gasped. Humanity had drawn blood. But the rift grew wider still. More claws reached through. Shadows poured like smoke across the stars. And Admiral Mara's voice echoed across every channel once more. "This is only the beginning." The galaxy was burning with fear. The rift widened, spilling shadows across the stars. The human fleet fought like titans, every warship unleashing fire against the Leviathan. Their weapons tore flesh from the beast, their shields absorbed blows that could destroy moons. Yet still, the ancient monster pushed forward. Every world in the galaxy watched. On crowded streets, civilians held their breath. In military halls, soldiers stood frozen before their screens. And in the Concordant Spire, the Council of Empires screamed at one another. The Velen warlord roared, slamming his clawed fist against the council table. Enough! Humanity cannot hold alone. We must strike now, unite our fleets and crush this beast. The Kair Chancellor's wings spread wide, trembling with fear. Fool! If we fire, the beast will notice us. Humanity shields us now. If we join, it will turn on us as well. The chamber split in rage. Delegates pointed, shouted, cursed. Some demanded war, others begged for retreat. No one agreed. The Archivist of Orin rose slowly, his ancient staff glowing faintly. His voice cut through the chaos. This is the choice. Not war or peace. Survival or extinction. If humanity falls, so do we. The chamber grew quiet. His words left no room for doubt. Meanwhile, at the border, the human fleet held the line. On the flagship Terra, Admiral Mara Saeed stood calm against the chaos. Her officers shouted reports. Shields at 63%. Hull breaches on the Aegis. The Leviathan is pushing harder. Chain fragments detected, Admiral. Containment failing. Mara's voice never wavered. Hold formation. We are not broken yet. Across alien homeworlds, fear turned to debate. Civilians demanded answers from their rulers. Why had the Council mocked Earth? Why had they ignored the warnings? Some shouted in the streets. Join the humans. They fight for us. Others cried. No. Let them die. Then the beast will return to sleep. The galaxy was divided. On the council floor, the arguments reached breaking point. The Avar Prime voice slammed his claws down. If we side with humanity, we bend our necks to primitives. They will rule us after this. The Velen warlord growled. If we do nothing, there will be no galaxy left to rule. The Archivist's eyes burned with sorrow. Do you not see? Humanity does not seek to rule. They seek to shield. And we mock them for it. Now we must decide, stand with them, or perish. The chamber shook as alarms rang. New transmissions appeared. The human fleet was faltering. One by one, their ships took terrible blows. Flames erupted across their hulls. Still they fought, refusing to retreat. A single image burned across every screen. A human warship ramming its engines forward, colliding with a Leviathan's claw. The ship exploded in white fire, shattering bone and flesh. The galaxy gasped. Humanity bled, but still they struck back. In that moment, doubt cracked. Some alien leaders felt shame burn inside them. They had mocked Earth, called them weak, yet here were humans dying to save them all. The Kair Chancellor lowered his wings. Perhaps we owe them more than fear. But before hope could rise, the Leviathan's voice returned, shaking every mind in the galaxy. You are insects. You hide behind your Death World guardians. But they will fall. And when they fall, I will feast on all of you. Billions cried out in terror as the voice echoed across their planets. Back aboard the Terra, Mara's eyes narrowed. Transmit this to the entire galaxy, she ordered. Her face appeared once more across every world, every ship, every council chamber. You have seen the truth, she said. We fight not for Earth, but for you. You mocked us. You feared us. But now you must choose. Stand with humanity, or wait for your extinction. Her words burned through the stars like fire. The council chamber fell silent. No one moved. No one spoke. The galaxy stood on the edge of choice. Before the vote could begin, the chamber shook violently. Lights flickered. A new image cut across the screens. The rift was breaking fully open. Not one Leviathan, many. Dozens of colossal shadows moved in the dark, chains snapping like thunder. The galaxy froze in terror. And Admiral Mara's voice came once more, cold and unyielding. Choose now. Humanity cannot hold them alone. The rift was no longer a wound. It was a storm. Chains of light snapped one by one, their echoes shaking every world in the galaxy. Shadows poured into the void like smoke, twisting, coiling, stretching across constellations. Not one Leviathan. Dozens. Each clawed and armored, their eyes glowing like suns, their voices thundering inside every mind. We are free, they whispered. The stars are ours again. Panic tore through the galaxy. Civilians screamed in the streets. Armies trembled in silence. Worlds that had once mocked Earth now prayed to survive. At the border, the human fleet moved as one. Admiral Mara Saeed stood at the center of the bridge, her gaze locked on the rift. Flames scarred her flagship, hull plates burned, but still the Terra stood strong. Status, she demanded. Shields collapsing across the second line, Admiral. Ammunition at 32%. Casualties rising. Hold formation, Mara commanded. Her voice was iron. If the galaxy will not fight, we will die fighting for it. On alien homeworlds, leaders watched in shame. Their fleets were docked, their soldiers untested, while humanity bled for them. In the council chamber, the archivist of Orin spoke once more. His frail body shook, but his voice was strong. This is the last choice. Join them now, or let all fall into shadow. The chamber filled with silence. Eyes darted, jaws clenched, pride battled with terror. Then, at last, the Kair Chancellor spread his wings wide. Transmit to every fleet. We stand with Earth. One by one, voices followed. The Velen warlord roared. The Avar Prime voice bowed his head. Even the fiercest rivals agreed. At last, the galaxy chose. For the first time in history, alien fleets burned toward the human line, not in war, but in unity. Armadas of every color, every shape, every empire leapt from hyperspace beside the battered human fleet. Their banners lit the void. Their weapons roared. Admiral Mara's eyes narrowed as the new signals appeared. At last, she whispered. They choose survival. The Leviathans stirred. Their voices thundered as one. Little ones unite? You think this will save you? You cannot chain us again. Their massive claws lashed out, rending stars. Galaxies shook beneath their fury. But this time, the humans were not alone. The united fleets opened fire. Thousands of warships filled the void with blinding light. Beams, torpedoes, plasma storms, all weapons unleashed in a storm of fury. The Leviathans roared in rage, their bodies torn by fire. The humans fought at the front, their black ships leading the charge. For every warship that fell, another surged forward. For every soldier who died, 10 more rose. And the galaxy saw it, humanity was not weak. Humanity was the shield, the fire, the will to resist the impossible. The battle raged across the stars. A Velen dreadnought rammed a Leviathan's jaw, exploding in white fire. A Kair carrier unleashed drones that carved through armored scales. Human ships formed a wall before the rift, buying precious seconds as allies struck from behind. The void became fire. The shadows screamed. On the bridge of the Terra, Mara's officers shouted reports. Admiral! The Leviathans are weakening. Our combined fire is breaking them. But Mara's eyes stayed locked on the rift. Her voice was quiet. No, this is not victory. Not yet. The rift pulsed again. And beyond it, something larger moved. The Leviathans froze, their rage suddenly silenced. For the first time, fear entered their voices. The Warden wakes, they whispered. The galaxy shuddered. If the Leviathans feared what lay beyond, then nothing alive was prepared. Admiral Mara straightened. This battle is only the beginning. Her voice carried through the fleet, through the galaxy, through every screen. We will fight. We will hold. But what comes next will decide everything. The rift split wide one final time. A colossal eye opened in the darkness, larger than worlds, older than time. It looked upon the galaxy, and every mind felt its gaze. The Leviathan screamed and fled back into the dark. The human fleet stood ready. The alien fleets braced. And Admiral Mara's voice echoed one last time. Remember this day. Humanity does not stand alone anymore. The screen went black.